Hello everyone, my name is Deidre and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. So in this video, I will share with you about my study abroad experience in the beautiful country of Japan. So first of all, I am from Jamaica and my university, the University of the West Indies, has an agreement with Tokyo University in Saitama, Japan. Now, Japan has kens. In the same way that the US has states and my country Jamaica has parishes, Japan has kens. So Saitama Ken is right beside Tokyo Ken, so it's not that far from Tokyo. But the university that I was going to is a very organized university, so I got all my instructions beforehand. They told me what exactly to do at the airport, and the instructions were all clear, so I knew exactly what to do, what bus to get into. So I made my way, and when I arrived at the train station, a student worker was there waiting for me, assisted me to my apartment, which was on the sixth floor. Now, I have never lived that high my whole life, so that was a new experience for me. Japan has many high-rise buildings, especially in the cities, so you know, it was a completely new experience for me. I've never lived that high, and it was okay. I guess the elevators were always working, and it's a pretty clean place, so the elevators were never dirty or smelly, so that was good. I think the most interesting experience I had in my apartment was the day there was this earthquake. It was a really big earthquake. There was actually a tsunami threat because of that earthquake in some other coastal region, not where I was, but like I could literally feel my room shaking like this. Like I was on my bed and I was just like, I could see everything in my room moving. And the group of, so in Japan they have a social media app called Line, right? So as international students, we formed a Line group, and in the group we were all saying like, whoa, a lot of persons have never experienced an earthquake based on where they're from. So it was new for some people, but I've experienced earthquakes before, but not. And I guess because I've never been that high while there was an earthquake, I've never experienced that amount of shaking before, but it was interesting. But for the Japanese, it was nothing. Like, they have earthquakes pretty regularly. Even sometimes you were in class sitting and they're like, oh, another earthquake. Some of them are just tremors, but like it's pretty normal to them. Highlights of my experience, I would say, were my travels. My travels were really the highlight of my experience. I think the first place I went to was a camp. I can't remember the name of, the first place I went to was Bosonomura, which is a soy sauce factory. That was interesting. Then we went to a little town, something Mura. I can't remember the name of it. Bosonomura, I believe, but that was also interesting. I went also on an English camp, and that was the most interesting experience for me. So in Japanese culture, they have these things you call ofuro, and it's like you take a shower, then you sit in the ofuro. But in some places like campsites, they have a big ofuro for everyone, and now you have to bathe in front of everyone. Like, it's just the males in one side and females in one side. But I wasn't used to that. I didn't even go in there. I didn't even look. Not me. It was only one night of camp, so like, it's okay, I'll take a shower when I get home. That wasn't for me. But surprisingly, after that, I actually went to an onsen by myself. And an onsen is like a hot spring, but they have like different pools and they have standalone tubs, so it's like a big area just of hot tubs, right? So you have to take a shower and then you go in the onsen because you can. But like, I think that's the place the Japanese are most confident, like, because you can't wear clothes in the onsen, you can't wear bathing suits, so you have to be naked with everyone. Well, thankfully, the first onsen I went to, I was the only one there at that time. But when I traveled to Osaka, they had these ticket books for foreigners where you could go to a lot of places like discounted or free. So I decided, okay, I want to try an onsen, and I was like, the place was nice, but I was the only black person because, as you would know, black people are not common in Japan. So it was pretty weird. It was relaxing. I spent like a half an hour soaking, but like some kids were there and they were just looking at me. I was like, it was kind of uncomfortable, so I left after. But it was a good experience overall. The second time, no, that's the third time I went to an onsen. It was with my friend, and it was only the two of us and another lady, so that wasn't that bad. But it's amazing to me how like they don't care at onsens. Everybody just let it all be free. But that's an interesting piece of Japanese culture. My first trip outside of Japan was to South Korea. South Korea is a beautiful place, and I think the most interesting part of my trip was when I went to the DMZ area, which is the area between South Korea and North Korea. There's like a whole border there that the UN occupies basically with American soldiers, and it was a very interesting, so full of culture, history. I learned so much about both nations, the reasoning behind the war. It's basically a cold war between South and North Korea, so it was very interesting. It was very interesting. And the exchange rate in South Korea is so good. So if any at all you can go to South Korea, I'd encourage you to go. It's a nice place, and their food is good and spicy, so it's really good. It was really good. After I left South Korea, I went to Osaka. That's where I traveled around. So the onsen experience was good. I went to a food festival. Oh my god, guys, Japanese food is really good. And I went to a food festival where all the Kens in Japan brought their most popular foods. I was in food paradise. I'm telling you, some of the lines were so long I didn't bother to join, but they had different types of ice cream, different types of cheese, different, like, it's a food festival, and it was really good. I also went to the Kaiyukan, the aquarium. That's an awesome aquarium. I really felt like I was in the bottom of the ocean. So I had a really awesome time there, and it's so big. Like, I literally took an hour and a half to get through the aquarium. It's like once, like I was like near to the because they have, just like how you're at the top of the sea and then the bottom of the sea. That's basically how the aquarium is. So you have the ones that live right on the shore, then near to the surface, then way below, so you had like whales and such. And I actually got to see a whale taken in water. I was like, whoa, like that was so cool. So if you're in Osaka, go to the Kaiyukan. It was really good. Japan, one thing I really admire about Japan and the Japanese, they really preserve their history. So if you go to the castles, the shrines, the temples, they're so well preserved. It's like nothing ever happened to them, right? They really preserve these pieces of their culture really well. So when you go to the castles, like the amount, and really surprisingly, it's really cheap to go into these places. So you can go look, and they usually have all the signs in both English and Japanese, and you can take pictures. They're pretty cool to go to these places. It's really pretty cool when you go to Japan. The second time I traveled was with my friend. We went to Kobe, Kyoto, and Nara, and we had Kobe beef. Like, guys, we ate beef that's on the lower end of Kobe beef, which was like 5,000 yen. And I'm telling you, the beef was like just melting in your mouth. Kobe beef is really good. It's really good. If you're in Kobe, you should try the beef. We went to Nara Castle. No, it was Kyoto. I don't remember which castle it was, but we went to a white castle. I don't remember where it was. Then I got to touch there. I think I put a picture of the dare. Right, but I got to touch there. I got to feed them. Like, it was so interesting. Yeah, it was so interesting. I think that was the highlight of my trip with my friend. And then, yeah, I also taught while I was there. I taught at an eikaiwa, which is what they call English schools. I taught at an eikaiwa, and my first day there, the kids, they had never seen a black person before. So my first day there, they were looking at me like, where are you from? How does your skin look like that? What kind of hair is that? Can I touch your hair? Like, they were so fascinated with me. That first day of school, it was like, it's okay, Deidre, they've never seen a black person before. So, but it was fine. I mean, I don't really feel like I was discriminated against that much. Like, on the train, Like persons would really think I don't understand Japanese, so they would say things, but it's, to me, it wasn't really bad. They would say, oh my god, look at her skin, I wonder, what does it feel like, how does it look like, why does it look like that, look at her body, oh my god, look at her shape, like, because to me they were basically highlighting the differences between me and them. Yeah, that's how I felt about it. I really didn't feel offended. I think the thing that offended me most was they didn't know where Jamaica was. Like, even the teachers asked me where Jamaica was. Like, well, in Jamaica we basically get a basic geographical explanation of where most things are. So we know that we basically know all of the Western Hemisphere. So we know if we hear the name of a country and it's not anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, it must be somewhere over the East. But like, most of them didn't know. Most people that I met in Japan really thought Jamaica was in Africa because we're all black and they associate blackness with Africa. So I had to be telling them like, no, Jamaica is pretty much to the south of the U.S. in the Caribbean, where Mexico and Brazil, all those people are on the Western Hemisphere. So I had to be teaching geography a lot, but you have to understand with Japanese, based on the history of their society, it's a very nationalistic culture. It's very inward focused. Like, they don't, based on their history, remember in their history they kicked out foreigners. Actually, even if you look at their ethnicity now, the majority of Japanese are like 90, I would say, I think the statistics say over 90% of Japanese are pure Japanese. It means that both parents, both family lines are just straight Japanese. And if you are mixed with something, they call you a hafu. So like for me, I couldn't pick up when somebody was mixed with Chinese and Japanese. I couldn't pick up. And most Japanese can't identify the difference either. But if they should ever find out that you're mixed, it will be a different story, So that's one thing I didn't like. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't like. But what I did love about Japanese culture, as I mentioned before, the food, I love how clean the place is. Everywhere is clean. Let me tell you, if you see anywhere in Japan that is dirty, best believe that many tourists are there. Even at the university that I went to, you could sit on those seats, you could eat in those bathrooms, that there is no smell, there is nothing that would gross you out. Those people are so clean. Because remember, for Japanese, their reputations are very important. Like, reputation is a very important thing in Japan. So to them, they will do nothing for someone to think less of them, right? So they leave even the kids. When I was teaching, when the kids, like, their lunch kit has a little rag in it, so when they're finished eating, they pack up their boxes, they wipe the area, put their bags away, and then they go to play. Like, Japanese are such clean people. I really admire that about the Japanese and Japan. I really admire that. The country is also very safe. Like, when you're there, you don't really have to fear theft. You don't have to fear murder. You don't really have to fear anything. Like, it's a really cool country to live in. It's really good. Like, it's really, really good. So that's one of the reasons that I would live there. But I don't think I live there long term because of the amount of stress. Because, alright, even though I don't fear being murdered, like, I heard about suicide so much. The Japanese, like, it's one of the countries in the top 10 in the world where people commit suicide. Like, people literally just jump in front of trains and kill themselves. And it's like nothing. And one day I was at the train station waiting, and usually Japanese, that's the one thing about Japan too, everybody is on time. So the trains are late, it must be something, right? So the trains were late, and I was like, oh my god, I wonder what's happening. The train is late, this is strange. And a Japanese said, oh, probably it's a suicide. And I'm like, what? And it's like, it's normal? And he's like, yeah, sometimes it happens pretty regularly. And I'm like, why would people do that? And they're saying, it's a stress, I'm working, because they're workers, whether you work for government or private sector, they call them salarymen, right? And these people are so stressed, like literally so stressed. They drink a lot. Japanese drink a lot, I'm telling you, a lot. They're so stressed. Like, in the nights, you see a lot of drunk men coming off the train, and then the station attendants form a chain like this so that they don't jump over in their drunken state. Like, even just walking on the roads, like, you will see some of them passed out on the sidewalk. Like, that's how stressed they are, right? They're really stressed there. But, like, it's really shocking. And then the thing with suicide is that if you commit a suicide, right, you cost the train company a lot of money. So you have to, when you die, your family has to pay them, compensate them for all the money that they lose. Like, it's a whole mess when they do that, you know. But I guess they say they want to get away from stress, and that's a really easy way to die. If you jump in front of a moving train, there's no way you won't die. So I don't know, that's one thing really bad. But as I said, Japanese are always on time. Their buses are on time, their trains are on time. If you're going to an event, it's on time. If an event is ever late, they apologize so many times, and you're like, so sorry, we had this problem. And you know, we really like, Japanese are always on time. And that's when I came home from Japan, I was so annoyed because everybody was late. And after living there for 10 months and everything was on time, when I came home, I was so annoyed. But it was a good experience. It really, really was a good experience for me. I really enjoyed my time there. Would I go back? Yes, I would go to teach. I wouldn't go to live. I wouldn't raise my family there based on the amount of stress I see the children there are under. But I would definitely go back as an English teacher, or probably just to visit, you know, because I love the culture there. But I don't think I would live there permanently. Like, I met a Jamaican guy, he and his whole family are there. I also met another Jamaican who is there as a teacher, and she's enjoying it. Like, it's a nice place. As an English speaker, especially as a teacher, it's really fun. Like, it's a nice place to live. But I don't think maybe because I love Jamaica, but I don't think I'd raise a family there. What else did I like? I like how easy it is to move around the country. The transportation system is seamless. Like, plane tickets within the country are easy. And also they have something called Shinkansen, and these are like bullet trains, and these trains are really bullets, let me tell you. It's like literally those trains are like bullets, right? They're like bullets. But besides that, I can say I had a good time. If you're thinking about going to Japan, go if you can go. You know, it's a really nice place to live. I'd advise you to go with money. Don't go there broke. Japan is a very expensive place to go. It's pretty expensive. But if you're teaching there, or if you're a student and you get the stipend that the government has in place, I got it. I can't remember the name of it, but I got it. You can go. But go with starting money, because especially if you're going there to work, Japanese pay you 2 months after, basically. Well, not 2 months, but basically you get your January salary at the end of February. So if you're going there, go with at least 2 months of spending money. That includes rent and food and transportation. And the good thing with Japanese too is that they actually pay your fare. Like, they pay your transportation cost. Or some places I would like, they will pay your transportation up to X amount of yen. But that's a really good thing about Japanese employers. The majority of them will pay your transportation costs. But that's it for this video. If you have any questions, you can always write them in the comments. Don't be afraid to like this video, give me a thumbs up, and to subscribe to this channel. Have a great day.